everybody. Jim Masters here, live here at what we call Lovely Hall. This is the Jim Masters Show Live, entertainment, lifestyle, celebrity talk show series, coming to you from the New York area. We are here reporting for duty in the host chair, and we're here with all of you. And we're so excited, gang, because we've got an amazing guest who's making a return visit, a trifecta return visit. He's hot off of the incredible, unbelievable farewell tour that he just gave, which we talked about here on our show. Matter of fact, I had an opportunity to be there, and it was one of the greatest nights in many, many years. I'm talking about the one and only multi-million selling music icon, one of the sweetest guys on earth. And everybody will tell you that, not just me, Jim Masters. Everybody will tell you, everybody in the industry, everybody out of the industry, that Tony Orlando is one of the nicest, sweetest guys on the planet. He does so many things for so many people. He's very charitable. He's incredibly talented, but he's just a guy with a big heart. He truly cares about people, about our community, about our environment, about everything. And he's just somebody who has been that way pretty much all his life. It's the way he was raised. It's who he is. It's in his blood. Tony was with our show about a month or so ago, and we had an exclusive opportunity to preview with Tony the farewell tour, which was the farewell to performing live and on stage and all. But, you know, you would think that he's home just retired and he's planting tomatoes in the backyard. He's even busier. Of course, he's got the radio show on WABC in New York and so much more. But yeah, after decades, some 7 decades in the industry, he decided, you know, it's time, family and other projects that I have, screenplays, the book, memoir, a lot of wonderful things. And it's time to really focus on that. But he's been entertaining us for decades. And during the farewell tour, he had an opportunity to really say thank you to his fans. And let me tell you, I had an opportunity to be at the final evening, which was Mohegan Sun, the incredible Mohegan Sun, which is located in Connecticut. And this was something, I think the folks at Guinness World Book Records should have been contacted, or still should be contacted. This was not a 1-hour concert. This was not a 2-hour concert. It wasn't even a 3-hour concert. It was like 3 hours and 20 plus minutes. There was a little bit of a battle to beat Bruce Springsteen's record, and Tony surpassed it. Everybody was on their feet. And guess what? No intermissions. It kept going with all of these fellow colleagues and friends who Tony has known for decades, who came from all points of the country to be with Tony on the final night there, and including, of course, yes, look at the screen, the Ladies of Dawn. They came and they surprised Tony, and they performed all the hits, and all these other folks. We're going to tell you all these other incredible folks here. Look at these faces. You know who these folks are. They are legends, and they were with Tony to celebrate. There was lots of hugs, lots of laughs, lots of passion. Cousin Brucey did the intro, which was absolutely incredible. He came up from New York. Bill O'Reilly was there. A lot of celebrities were there, and a lot of people were just, they said, Tony, I will be there for you. Absolutely, Tony, where and when. And it was really just like an extraordinary evening of love. People were on their seats. People were jumping on their seats. They were dancing in the aisles. It was one of the greatest, Lee Greenwood. It was one of the greatest shows you will have ever seen, probably in your lifetime, because Tony was on fire the whole time. And yeah, he just had so many incredible people there, but he told stories. He made us laugh. He shared, he cried. He was very emotional. Everybody was emotional, even the fans, the folks in the audience. It was like 10,000 people. It was packed. It was sold out. He kept going. He acknowledged the audience. He had us all involved. And before all that, he went back to his old neighborhood in Manhattan and Chelsea and he made all the rounds with media. He was making his way back to his hometown, which was really something absolutely special. I was there that night, this backstage with Tony and the family, everybody there. And then something special happened when he returned home involving this. When he went back to Branson, Missouri. We're going to talk about that in just a second. He's also got something very special he's doing with veterans that we're going to tell you about in just a second, which is really, really cool. We're so excited to have him back here on the show. He's got a lot of cool things to talk about. We're also going to relive a little bit of that fantastic evening on his farewell tour, which was absolutely spectacular. Again, he's one of the sweetest guys. And I can tell you, I've probably interviewed on television and radio, PBS and everywhere else, probably 6,000 people in my career. Tony is right there at the top. He is real. He's authentic. He's all heart. And if you ever wonder, some of the people that you admire on stage and on television and film, are they really like what you would hope they're like? Tony is not only like what you would hope, he exceeds what you hope. He's all heart. And he's always been that way. It's not something for branding or something just because the light's on him. He's always been like that. And I've talked to many, many people, fans, friends, industry colleagues, other music veterans, people that know Tony personally. Everybody says the same thing. I love that man. I love that guy. Tony's one of the best. Tony helped me in my career. You'll hear that a lot too. So he's just a sweetheart of a guy. And guess what? He's back here on the Jim Masters Show live, and we're so happy. Here he is, just for you, the one and only Tony Orlando. Welcome back, my friend. It's so great to see you again.
Jim Masters, listen to Tony. There's an old expression, okay? It takes one to know one. As cliche as that is, it happens to be true. Everything that this guy just said about me is the same thing I can say about him. Everybody he's interviewed, 6,000 people in all those years, they all say, wait till you do Jim's show. And then he comes backstage. If you look at that picture, I was wearing this very hat. I wanted to bring it onto your show to extend how you made me feel that night, because you had a look. You know what you look like? You look like a proud family member. Like, oh my God, you got through it without embarrassing me. Oh my God, you were so good. I didn't have to apologize to my friends. Oh my God, Tony. It was like, look, sometimes you meet a guy, you meet a woman, you hit it right off. That's what's happened with you. You came a long way to see that show. That's a long drive. The 95 is a pain in the neck. It's traffic. They say it's 2 hours, count it. It's 4 hours, right? And you came, and as you know, it was a fairy tale ending, Jim. It was a fairy tale. A God Almighty, 64 years. Check this out. You had a picture of Cousin Brucey up, right? You had him side by side. The picture on the left on my screen, no, okay, there's a picture with us side by side. I don't know if you can pick it up, but it was Brucey bringing me on stage in 1961. I was 16 years old. And the same Cousin Brucey brings me on stage there on the left. Everybody watching, that's me, my first time on a stage in my life at Palisades Amusement Park, and that's Cousin Brucey. 63 years later, come on, you can't write stuff like this. He's back on stage with me saying goodbye to my last live performance. Mm-hmm. That's insane. Yeah. And that is the kind of poignant, beautiful, proud, unexpected storytelling ending that I was given at Mohegan Sun. And thank you for coming to share it with me.
Oh, it was incredible. I was listening to what the audience was saying. People were dancing in the aisles. You did, almost 3.5 hours. I had to stop. No breaks. You just went, and you kept saying, do you want me to continue? Yes. Yeah. 10,000 people were on their feet. Yes. Don't go anywhere. It was incredible.
But I had some great help.
You're a master showman, and you surround yourself with lots of incredible talent.
Thank you. How about that band of mine, huh?
They are incredible.
My drummer, 42 years with me. Keyboard player, Kerry Cole, 32. His brother, 33 years. My brother, since I changed his diapers. I mean, this was family on stage, right? Playing for me. And then Lee Greenwood walks out and surprises me and does, of course, the song that we all go, it's America, right? And God Bless the USA. And I look around and there he is, singing for me. Then the girls showed up. Thelma and Joyce came 3,000 miles.
Yeah.
Then Priscilla Presley came
Yes.
all the way from LA. Then Adam Sandler come up on the screen and said some beautiful things. And Lionel Richie and Larry the Cable Guy. And the other guys that you saw was Andy Kim. And he had that record. He wrote Sugar Sugar and sang it that night with the audience. And Rock Me Gently, that's Andy Kim right there. And then Jay Siegel, that's the lead singer of the Tokens, The Lion Sleeps Tonight. And he came in, he blew the audience away because he could still do that falsetto. It's just like the record. It was incredible. And then you were there. You come backstage, and I'm going to tell you something, Jimmy, the truth. You had the look of pride in you, I swear. You really, we've become friends. I can say this now, I'm retiring. It's not me looking to get you to do another interview to publicize something. I'm telling you, I saw the love in your heart and your eyes. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine. We've been, following you for so long, and I was so happy for you that everything came off the way that you dreamed and hoped, and probably even exceeded your expectations. I was watching it, even working in this industry, I was watching it from the production value and the timing and just the lighting and just everything. It was not only entertaining, but it was so heartfelt. People were talking on their way out to the parking lots. They would continue. They're like, I've never seen anything like this. Sure, this is his farewell, but what he did for everybody else, one of the sweetest things that you did, and I've told multiple people, off air about this, and even on air, what you did when you were saluting all of the different veteran periods, World War I, World War II, Korea, Vietnam, Desert Storm, Afghanistan, all of it, and had them rise, and then everybody clapped, and then you were singing Welcome Home, You're Home, giving them their due, and the spotlight with 10,000 people at Mohegan Sun were clapping and cheering those people, some of them in tears, and you were so spot on with it and passionate about it. And you were like, this is for you. I've never seen anybody do anything like that in my life. And that was a total surprise. And it just solidified who you are to every 10,000 plus people all at the same time. People were in tears. That was such a beautiful thing, Tony.
It was. You asked me before we went on the air here today, you said, when did you start your relationship with veterans? And I said 1973. And you had a look in your face like, what? 1973? And the reason 1973 is because that was the year Yellow Ribbon came out. And Yellow Ribbon was introduced for its first time ever sung on a stage. I think I told you this the last time I was here, was with Bob Hope at the Cotton Bowl. And why were we there was to welcome home our POWs, our non-POWs, from their time held in captivity, some of them up to 8 and 10 years of torture in the Hanoi Hilton. And there I am, Jim, singing Yellow Ribbon, being introduced by Bob Hope. And for you people out there too young to know who Bob Hope was, and there are many of you that don't know, he was not only an enormous mega movie star in the 30s and 40s, 50s, and 60s, but he held the country together as being I would say, the master of ceremonies, comedian for everything from World War II then on. And he invited me to come there to sing this song. Now remember, the opening line to that song is, I'm coming home, I've done my time. I'm looking out at 500 plus POWs who had been tortured. I hear 70,000 people singing the chorus, tie a yellow ribbon. And I talk about it to this day, the hair on my arm stands up. Because that was when I realized, you know what? I think this is God telling me something. I think this is God telling me that there's purpose behind this song, because music crosses all barriers, all boundaries. There are no boundaries when it comes to songs. And you're going to be able to raise money because of this song for veterans, wounded warriors. Now, that's 1973. That's, I don't know, 30 years before Wounded Warriors. So there I was being embraced by these guys whose eyes hadn't even been accustomed to daylight yet. So from that day on, every show I've done, and 25 of free shows in Branson, Missouri, for veterans, my heart, my soul has been dedicated to them. And let me tell you, Jim, that night when they stood up and I looked out and I saw those Vietnam vets in tears out there, and you saw them.
Yes.
They were literally in tears. And when I asked 10,000 people to say, would you just utter the two words that these guys never heard when they came home because they were spat on, they were cursed at, they were disrespected, would you guys yell out, welcome home? How loud was that welcome home, Jim?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. Yeah.
It was
I think
unbelievable.
all of the slot machines in the casino went tilt when that happened.
Yeah. And it was so moving. And then what's so crazy is nothing was rehearsed on that show.
No. That's which is amazing. You said that.
There was no lighting rehearsal. There was no show rehearsal. Glee Greenwood did rehearse the band because they never played his band. Usually, God Bless the USA. That was it. No rehearsals, no nothing. And what I have if you told me, who did you introduce next? I couldn't tell you. It was all done in some miraculous way. I got through it. It's something, it's hard to express, right, Jim? It's hard to explain.
It had to be. And then, you were so gracious after, and you were talking and you were sharing just what you were feeling with everybody. And I think it was just so extraordinarily moving. And you and I actually, we chatted on the phone like the day after. I'm like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
Tony Orlando's calling. He needs bed rest.
Oh, you were so good.
He needs to sleep.
You were so good to me. You were so worried. You like I said, you look like a family member who walked in and went, you got through it. Thank God. You did. That's what you look like to me. Oh, thank God he didn't fail. Oh, God.
But you did many of those telethons for MDA, so you were a trooper. You know how to do it. But the 3.5, it was like 3.5 hours almost.
I wanted Bruce to hear about it. I wanted Bruce to hear. Tony did how long? 3.5. Because I love this guy.
Yeah.
Bruce, I went into the New Jersey Hall of Fame. Just recently.
You did. Yes, congratulations.
With his wife Patty, and of course Sinatra's there, and Frankie Valli, and Bruce is there. And, Thomas Edison is even in that museum, in that Hall of Fame, and I was so honored. And I see Bruce walking towards me, and he's got this big, beautiful smile on his face, and he starts singing "Halfway to Paradise," which was my first hit record. It was 1961, and I looked at him and went, were you born in 1961? Do you remember that song? And he went, what do I remember it? Tony, before there was a Bruce, before there was a Temptations, before there was a Beatles, before there was a Motown, before there was a Rolling Stones, it was you. When he said that to me, coming from the boss, he's saying that maybe I had something to do with starting the fire a little bit, like Billy says in his song, I did maybe start a little bit of a flame. It was such a considerate, kind thing for him to do after singing every word of that Carole King song, Halfway to Paradise. I'll never forget that moment with Bruce Springsteen. Never.
Really extraordinary. And you know what? You talk about tie a yellow ribbon. What I know you were incredibly touched by. Everybody, probably thought, okay, he went back home to Branson and he's relaxing with the family. The love for Tony didn't stop because you came home to this. You had the whole place welcoming you and thanking you, all of Branson, all the theaters and everybody there. and people waiting for you at the airport and ribbons and that totally blew you away. Well earned, well deserved, but God, how extraordinary to even get that when you come home, to have them even say, look, we got this. We know, we thank you for what you've done. It's unbelievable.
Well, Jim, I'm going to tell you something about Branson, Missouri. It's an extraordinary city, and I'll tell you why. When I came here in 1993, I opened a theater called the Yellow Ribbon Music Theater. Andy Williams was here. He was the one that encouraged me to come. He had the Andy Williams Theater. Johnny Cash was here. All the big country stars were here. And I didn't know how I was going to be accepted. And they accepted me with open arms, Jim, like you can't believe. But to welcome me home that way, there's 120 theaters in Branson, Missouri. 120 theaters had welcome back, Tony. Thank you for what you do for our veterans. Thank you for representing Branson, Missouri. And Branson, Missouri, by the way, has 9 million people a year come here. And in that 9 million, there's no gaming. It's the Bible Belt. But it's hard country songs and hard country music and hard rock and roll. And then there's plays and there's comedy. It's an amazing, extraordinary little city that hosts every year to 9 million people. And boy, the Hershans, who own Silver Dollar City and Dollywood, were at that airport with yellow ribbons in their hands, with Yakov Smirnoff, the comedian, welcoming me home. They only own Silver Dollar City and Dollywood. And there they are going, welcome home, we love you. You talk about a blessing. I hate to keep doing this to the audience that's watching, but you guys put yourself in my shoes. You start out with a dream when you're 16 years old. You don't know where it's going to go. I'd have been happy pulling a curtain at a theater. I just wanted to be in show business. 63 and a half years later, you have super megastars calling you up and leaving videos, flying into your town, presidents of the United States, friends like Jimmy calling you and coming to the show, and then a city welcoming you back, a city that you lived in now for 33 years with such a heart welcoming. I'm telling you, Jim, this is a storybook ending. And we live in a time where that people don't think there are any more storybook endings. We only watch storybook endings when we watch The Wizard of Oz.
Right.
That's it. But guess what? There really, really was a storybook ending to a kid who never saw high school. I only went to the 8th grade. A kid who became a vice president of CBS at 26 years old with Clive Davis. A kid who had 26 chart records, 5 #1 records, a network television show, worked on Broadway in Barnum, an award-winning Tony musical. What? And then at the end is welcomed by the guy that introduced him in the first place. And then what? He goes home to his hometown to a hero's welcoming. This is crazy. I didn't do anything but to go out there and go, hey, everybody, having fun? That's all I ever did. But, it goes to show you, and you know this better than anybody because you're just like me. You never lose the ability to say thank you. That's you. That's me. That's what we're about. We thank God they came to the show. We thank God they're tuning into your podcast. We thank them that they stay loyal to us. We do it for them. Maybe we make them forget a financial burden. Maybe we make them forget a divorce. Maybe somebody in the family passed away. Maybe somebody's dealing with cancer. I don't know. Maybe we can bring them just a little bit of joy. And God's put us into that position. And man, let me tell you something. The feedback that's come back to me, just because I've never lost the ability like you to say thank you. You and your podcast, I watch you with your guests. What do you think? I only see you when I come on? I watch you. And you never lose that. You're always about, you do a whole big intro. You show your heart. You tell them why they're great. You tell them what makes them special. You don't have to do that. You can just say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, here's my guest. No, you go through a chronology. You go through the heart of the person. That's because you like being a good person. And I'm going to tell everybody out there who's watching this show, never lose the ability to say thank you, because the same people you see on the way down is the same people you saw on the way up. And on the way down, when you're retiring, and I don't mean down in the failure, but when it's all over, guess who shows up? Everybody you were kind to. And guess what they do? They're on their feet. They're applauding. They're hoping the best for you. This taught me one thing, that at least I made the right decision in trying to be a good man. And that's all it takes, is to be a good human being. You can sing, okay. I'm not the greatest singer. Tom Jones is a great singer. I'm not the greatest dancer. Michael Jackson's the great dancer. But I'll tell you what, I have a hell of a heart. And the people have shown an unbelievable response. And that heart came from my family, my mom, my dad, my sister Rhonda, and how I was brought up. And I'm forever grateful to them, because it showed up in the end. Those 10,000 people who paid to get in stayed 3 hours and 20 minutes with me and supported me to the point where I'm still not over it. I know I'm talking too much. I'm sorry.
Not at all. We love it. You and I were talking. There you are, holding your heart there. You're blown away by the response from 10,000 people on their feet.
Yeah.
I would imagine it probably surpassed any expectations you had, the responses that you've had as you went across the country with the tour, and including Mohegan Sun, just the outpouring. You might have thought people are going to come, they're going to enjoy the music, it's going to be a beautiful evening, but this was a love fest that you created.
Well, I'll tell you something really that has to be corrected. I never went on a tour. I was working all those shows, but I never billed them as a going away tour. Only 3 places. Las Vegas, because I worked in Las Vegas since the 1970s. And without a doubt, that was an honor to be there 54 years. Yeah. So I ended my relationship as a performer. So I called it the goodbye tour there. Then my first time ever in Atlantic City. I was 16 years old. I worked there with the American Bandstand. So it was my time to say goodbye to Atlantic City, and then Mohegan Sun. And why Mohegan Sun? Because Mohegan Sun and it almost became my university. It almost became the school closing, because I went there to work in 1998 when they first started. It was a tent. It wasn't the big hotel. They didn't have the big casino. They had one stage, one room called the Wolf Den. And they had me work there all the way up, and they put me in that 10,000 seat arena, which has been voted, as you know, the #1 venue, 10,000 seat, 12,000 seat arena in the country, 8 or 9 times, including Country Music Award. It is a humongous, successful venue. Yeah. They believed me enough to put me in a 10,000 seat arena. Yeah. And we filled it every time. So I wanted to end that show, because how close is it to New York? 2 hours. How close is it from Boston? An hour and a half. All of my East Coast people could come to the arena and be, I didn't know how many were going to show up. I was praying, and you saw 10,000. It holds 12,000, but the reason there's only 10,000 is because they don't fill any seats behind you. Right. So those seats are 2,000 seats, which could have been if I played center in the middle of the arena. But I played proscenium style, so right behind me there is a bunch of seats. That's why I guess we didn't have the 12,000. But 10,000 people showed up. I was scared to death. I was never so nervous in my life. I walked out there. I do not remember. It was like a car accident. I do not remember. Once I got hit, and once the ambulance came, I woke up, and there you were, Jim.
That's it.
I swear. It was like, what happened? Did I just get hit? What happened?
What was this about? Right, exactly. It was incredible. But we remember. You gave us so much to remember. And then I surprised you when we came to visit you backstage by bringing my phenomenal friend, Austin, Ronnie Spector's son. Oh. And I think you were completely surprised. And he's still talking about that.
You know, I met Ronnie Spector and the Ronettes before they became famous. I did a show with them, with Murray Decay, a disc jockey in New York. And we rode home together in a snowstorm. And they became family to me. And then they went to work at the Peppermint Lounge for Joey D and the Starlighters, who, by the way, when they went there, the group eventually became Young Rascals, Good Lovin' and all that stuff. And Jimi Hendrix was the guitar player at that time in that band. And that was 1961. And that's when we became friends. And I never met her children until you brought that young man with you. And all I kept thinking was, oh my God, this is Ronnie's son. Talk about a legend, Be My Baby. Talk about Ronnie Spector. And talk about someone who suffered, who was held in a closet by Phil and not let out. I mean, it was a horrible story. And yet, there she was in the end, married to a great guy at the end who supported her through it all, is Greenfield. And the son talked about her like, it's my God, it's my mom, which I was happy to see. Thank you for bringing him, because you know what? That meant Ronnie was right there with me. She started with me in 61, and like Bruce Morrow, she ended with me with her son.
Exactly. I knew, and we're still talking about it. He was enamored to be standing there in front of you too.
Give him my number. Everybody. Give him my phone number. I want to be. I want to be Uncle Tony.
He would love that. Absolutely. Yeah. He would. That would. There was something else too that I saw that I thought was really, really special, and that is this. Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
You had an opportunity to, and they just celebrated, was it the 50th anniversary of him hitting 715 recently?
Yep.
I mean, that must have been something quite special, huh?
And that was the year he did it. What you're looking at is the very year that he did it. And he came on the show, and he was so nervous, God bless. He was such a soft-hearted, quiet, humble man. And he said, Tony, am I going to have to sing?
Right.
And I said, yeah. Oh, no. I said, you know the song. He said, really? I said, yeah. Take me out. Oh, I can do that. He said, I can do that. And he did it. And he did it great. And it was one of the great moments on my show, was to be able to look back and think that I was there the year he hit that, broke Babe Ruth's record. And for any young people out there, understand, he was getting, people wanted to kill him because he was black and he was breaking a white man's record. At that time, that's where the country was at. That kind of stuff was going on. Yeah. And he fought through it like Jackie Robinson, and he beat that record humbly. And never did this to Babe Ruth. Always did that to Babe Ruth. He was an honorable, great man, Hank Aaron. Thanks for bringing that picture up, Jimmy.
Absolutely. I saw that, and I thought it was quite special because I have a connection as well. When he hit that home run, my father gifted me with this Louisville Slugger bat, which is a commemorative bat that Magnavox had put out at that time, and it has the actual serial number, Hank Aaron, 715. It was, of course, the Braves versus the Dodgers, pitcher Al Downing, and this is one of the commemorative bats from that time. And I saw that when I saw that picture with you and him, I said, I got to show this bat that my father, because I played Little League Baseball, that my father got for me. And I pulled this out of our, safe storage bin. And I said, I got to show this to Tony.
That's a treasure. That right there is a treasure. The fact, you see, the fact that your father brought you to the baseball games, that says a lot about your upbringing. You notice, I'll tell you something, I love all sports, don't get me wrong. But next time you watch a baseball game and a guy hits a home run, what's the first thing he does? He comes around, hits on plate, and he puts his hands up in the air and he thanks God.
Yes.
Every single ball player, you see the Star Spangled Banner, they're up with their hands on their chest.
Yes.
It is truly the American pastime. And the reason your father brought you is because he knew that some of that stuff would rub off on you.
Absolutely.
As they did with me, my son. I brought my son. And you guess who was in the batter's box? Do you know who was in the batter's box? No, not me. When he hit,
but that is you.
Yeah, that is me. But when he broke the record, do you know who was in the batter's box?
Who?
Next up, Dusty Baker, who just won the World Series last year with the Houston Astros.
Incredible. That is incredible.
Yeah.
Now, you did have something special happen recently, right?
Yeah.
There you are holding a bat. Tell us about this.
Okay, so that's in San Francisco. I was doing a show in San Francisco, and the people who own the Giants invited me out to the ballpark. First of all, it's one of the most beautiful ballparks you ever saw in your life. And I got up.
That's so cool.
Look at me there, right? And there I am standing in a batter's box, and one of their coaches got up and threw me the ball. He was all dressed in his Giant uniform and threw it. And I didn't know. I was hoping, and at least I got a ground ball. I didn't hit the ball very hard, but it was a little ground ball. But at the same time, Willie Mays' office, and there I am. I'm showing the ring. That's a World Series ring that they won a few years before I was there, a couple of years before I was there.
So cool.
And it really is cool. And they allowed me to be part of the Giant experience. And I passed Willie Mays' office.
Oh, wow.
And he wasn't in. I said, oh, God. So I left a note.
Yeah.
And I get a call back. And it's Willie. Hey, Willie here. I said, what? Yeah, it's Willie Mays, man. What you doing? Hey, I used to watch your show all the time. I couldn't speak. I was in, like that. Because I love baseball so much,
That is quite an honor and a surprise, huh?
Yeah, it was. And he just had his 93rd birthday.
He did. That's right. He did.
Yeah.
And you also were celebrating somebody else who I know is a longtime dear friend who also celebrated a milestone birthday, Frankie Valli.
Oh. Last night, Saturday night, I played 2 hours of Frankie.
With our buddy Robbie Robinson coming on. Yeah.
Isn't
he a sweetheart too? Yeah.
It'll make him fine of that. He's been with Frankie 46 years.
Forever. Yes.
And it was my percussionist and Frankie's percussionist who got Robbie the job.
That I didn't know.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So his name is Richard Garcia.
You know everybody.
And Frankie, I know Frankie since 1961. I'll tell you how I met Frankie. Remember I said I went to the Brooklyn Fox Theater with Murray the K?
Yeah.
Well, Frankie had Sherry out at the time.
Yeah.
Now here's who was on the bill. Johnny Mathis, Jackie Wilson, all beginning. Smokey Robinson, The Miracles. Chuck Jackson. Brian Hyland. Me. The Shirelles. All these great groups from that period of time, 1961. And the DJ who had the show, Murray the K, the fifth Beatle, they used to call him, because he became friends with them, calls a meeting. He said, on the second floor, you got to hear, Murray would like you to come down to the second floor. And we all go down, what's going on? And he comes out and he says, Jackie's not closing the show tonight. It's a group called the Four Seasons. And we looked at each other. Someone's replacing Jackie Wilson? So I don't know who it was. It might have been Smokey who said, who's coming in to replace Jackie tonight as the closing act? Because it's a group called the Four Seasons. They have a record called Sherry. It's the hottest record in the country. It's breaking records. Well, in come Frankie and the Four Seasons. Full packed house. It's a balcony in that theater, the Paramount Theater, Brooklyn Fox Theater in Brooklyn. Gorgeous theater. And out they come. And Sherry has this kind of feel. Boom, 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 boom. So you had that straight forward. And I'm looking up and I'm standing next to Smokey Robinson and I see the balcony going like this because the people were stomping their feet. And I looked at him and said, that balcony is going to come down. He goes, Tony, you know what we're witnessing tonight? I go, what? We're witnessing the birth of a megastar.
Mm.
That was Smokey Robinson telling me that about Frankie Valli's first hit record.
Wow.
And it was that night that we became friends. And we remained friends every year without a bump in the road for 60 some odd years since 1961. So last Saturday night, I could say happy birthday, Frankie, played all of his music. And I even played a little bit of him at the end of the show because I interviewed him, not as well as you, but I interviewed him a couple years before. And the one thing I kept was where he says, whatever happens to you, cherish it and never give up. And when he says never give up, I went right into the intro to Grease. And it was really a powerful ending. But that is one amazing man. I just saw him working in Las Vegas, 90 years old plus, and he's out there, my eyes adored you. And the whole audience is singing with him. It's a beautiful thing to see. And Smokey was right.
Yes, absolutely. And that was on this show that you do on WABC 77 in New York, which you can hear across the country. You're loving that, aren't you?
I am. I'm getting mail from other countries now because the streaming thing is amazing. 173 countries are listening to that show, plus all 50 states. And it's amazing the response I'm getting. This is coming up to our 4th year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. And I got to thank ABC. John Cassavetes, who owns the company, and his wife, Margot, they just let me go. As well as I in radio, there's a program director. And usually you got to listen to what he says. You know what they tell me at WABC? Do whatever you want.
Yeah.
That's
rare.
That's rare. So I've been able to go up and do documentaries, radio style, really theater of the mind style. And it's allowed me to be creative as well as playing the records of my friends. I get a chance to talk about Frankie and Jackie Wilson in my days with them. Carole King, growing up with her. It gives me a chance to share all those stories with people. It's great.
It really is that opportunity I know that you cherish and that you just revel in every single time the microphone goes on. And how do you like being a fellow broadcaster?
Well, something, it's harder than people think. Like for instance, you take an interview, right? You interview me. You ask a question, I give you an answer. But try it the reverse. You be the person to come up with the question. You be the person to be able to sit and listen to a guy who talks like me. You be and calmly wait and don't interrupt like I do to people. No, it's an art form that people have no idea. And when you're on the radio, no one sees you. So, you've done radio all your life. No one says, so you have to create what they hear.
Theater of the mind.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you the story about what Ray Charles said to me about that?
No.
Yeah.
Love to hear it.
I took Ray Charles, who was a good friend of mine, to a Dodger game. For 18 years, I had the best Dodger seats in the world. And he calls me, I want to go see the Dodgers play. I got Dizzy Gillespie with me, the great sax trumpet player, jazz player. So we go. And of course, we all know that Ray Charles is sightless, right? He's sitting next to me, Jim. Guy winds up, throws the pitch. He hears this, and he goes, fastball inside corner, right? And I look and I go, what? What? Have you been lying to people? Next pitch, curveball. Oh, that was slow. That was probably a curveball. That's a ball. That's a ball. That's not a strike, right? I said, Ray, you've been lying to America and the world all this time. You can see next pitch, bam, smack, hard line drive over the second baseman into center field. The guy rounds first, stays on first. Ray says, oh, line drive over second base? I go, come on, Ray. Come on. That's impossible. If you're blind, how do you know that? He said, Tony, let me tell you something. You should only be able to see what I hear. I'll repeat that. Tony, you should only be able to see what I hear.
Right.
Think of what he just said to me. That his ears have been so tuned in. God gave him the ability to actually hear sound where the sound is going to, how far it's going, how fast the ball comes in the catcher's mitt. I couldn't believe it.
Did it change you at all? Did that perspective add
Sure.
anything to how you continued looking at life?
Sure.
Yeah.
Because when I went to radio, I remembered those words. People can't see me. Like who couldn't see the picture? People can't see me. Like he couldn't see the hitter. People can't see me. Like he couldn't see that line drive. And all I kept saying is, remember, Ray, create the picture in your mind, give it to them so they have it in their minds, and they'll be able to see what you hear.
That is such a beautiful perspective on
I
life,
learned that
isn't
from
it?
Ray. Yeah.
From Ray Charles.
Yeah.
God, that is incredible. You know, and like I said to everybody, you thought that Tony was just going to be home planting tomatoes. That's not Tony Orlando. That's not Tony Orlando.
I just eat tomatoes.
I just eat tomatoes. If you were placed on an island and there was only one food God said you can eat the rest of your existence and it would sustain you, what would that be for Tony Orlando?
Oreo cookies. That's the truth. I'll die happy.
Hey, Oreo people, I sent a couple of cases to the Orlando household.
I used to
Branson.
do that. You know something, Jim? On the TV show, I would look at the camera and I would, because when I was a kid, I would watch TV dunking Oreo cookies into milk. And I watched and I'd watch the Little Rascals.
Yeah.
So I got on the floor one day on TV on my show and went, okay, I see you out there, that little guy laying on the floor with your glass of milk. I see you dunking that Oreo cookie watching that show. Don't you think, I mean, not thousands, but I got a few hundred letters out of 3 million viewers. They said, how did you know? Could you see me dunking my cookie into my milk? I just took it for granted that it might happen. And I lived on Oreo cookies as a kid. And that's why I have always gained weight. Whenever I've gained weight, is I'm sneaking the Oreo cookies out of the cupboard.
Like I said, hey, folks, you guys that make the Oreo cookies, send a couple of cases to the
And
Orlando
you guys,
household.
yes, and that's right. And don't send me the ones with the little bit of cream. Keep the big cream in there. I don't like what you guys are doing. Give me back the old Oreo cookies.
Oh, the shrinkflation where everything costs more, but is smaller now.
Yeah, I'm not crazy about that.
Tony Orlando doesn't like it, so it's got to stop, folks.
Yeah. Oreo cookies, I love you. Go back to the old Oreo cookies.
People have also wanted to know, because when you did do Vegas and Atlantic City and Mohegan Sun, and I thought it was so beautiful that you did Las Vegas for the mini tour, and then you did Atlantic City, because each of these places meant so much to you. And then you ended in the tri-state area. You ended where you grew up. You ended where you're from, where the roots are, where people knew you then and have supported and celebrated you beyond. I thought that, and I kept saying that to people. I said, there's a reason why he ended it in this area, because this is where it started. This is where he's from. This is where the roots are. He's traveled the world, but it means something to him and to the people in the area that he come home.
It's the neighborhood.
And you did that.
I came back to the neighborhood.
Yeah. And what was that like? That was something special to come back, and because, you know, you were greeted by the media, you were greeted by fans, but everybody was like, Tony's back home. And that was something special.
You know, the guy who really put that thought into my head was a guy named Tom Cantone. Now, Tom Cantone, I knew when he was the head of entertainment in Atlantic City, I think for the Sahara at that time, back in the 70s. Now he's the president of sports and entertainment at Mohegan Sun. And he's like a brother to me. I've known him, 50 years. And he said, Tony, I want you to think about this. When you end your career, like which is doing, you're winding down now, you got to go back to the neighborhood. And you see that picture? That's the neighborhood. I lived on the 4th floor of that building. That's 221 West 21st Street in Manhattan, between 7th and 8th Avenue. And then, of course, when I was 12, 13 years old, my mom and we moved to New Jersey, to Union City. But my first 12 years of life, I lived in that building. And that is the rooftop. That is where I sang with my first doo-wop group. I'd be up in that rooftop, and we would call the Five Gents, and I would make believe that the fire escapes that you see there were the box seats to my theater. And I would make believe that all the traffic below me were people trying hard to get to the show. And we'd be singing in the still of the night and doing our doo-wop moves, right? So going back to the old neighborhood was his idea. I can't take credit for it. It was Tom Cantone. And then when I got to the end of my career, who becomes president in charge of the most $2 billion venue called Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut? It's a $2.5 billion venue, the most beautiful hotel you ever saw, the most incredible restaurants, the most incredible place in beautiful Connecticut, but it draws from New York, New Jersey, Boston, Connecticut, even parts of New York State. They come, and they all come to that one place. And he said, this will represent your neighborhood. And I listened to him, and I'm glad I did. That wasn't my idea to end it there. It was my friend Tom Cantone, my friend for life.
You know who's watching too? We have had so many wonderful folks on the show. We've had Benedino King, the son of Benny King, on the show. Bobby Wilson, Jackie Wilson's son, with us.
Yeah.
We had recently Roy Hamilton Jr., the son of Roy Hamilton, and he actually is here. He wishes you well. He says congratulations. He and his lovely wife Maria Hamilton. Did you ever meet his dad, Roy Hamilton?
Is he on with me? Can he hear me?
Oh yeah, they're big fans. Yeah, he's watching.
Let me share a story about your dad. So your dad was on a record company called Epic Records. Now, Epic Records did not have anybody having hits on that label except Roy Hamilton. He was the only one. Hear that whistle, it's 10 o'clock. Don't let go. Don't let go. Come on, baby, it's time to rock. Don't let go. Don't let go. Ooh, this is killing me. That's Dad. The only other artist that fit the pop world, the first pop teenage idol kid, was me. And why was I so excited? I was on the same label as Roy Hamilton? Are you kidding me? Me, You'll Never Walk Alone, Roy Hamilton, on the same label, and the first pop teenage idol to sign with them? And who was the guy that signed me? Dave Kaplick. And who was the lawyer? Clive Davis. I was 16 years old. Okay, now, young Mr. Hamilton, if you're listening, I become friends with a guy named Chips Moman, who became Elvis Presley's producer. Did all of, Viva Las Vegas and In the Ghetto and Kentucky Rain. And I asked Elvis in front of Chips Moman, who is your favorite singer? And Elvis said to me, Roy Hamilton. And now when you listen to Roy Hamilton's Hear That Whistle, It's 10 o'clock, don't be cruel, you'll hear the same guy.
Yeah. It's
all Elvis copying, and Elvis admitted it to me. But here's the thing, young Mr. Hamilton, you're the only one that tell Jimmy this is the truth. Elvis went to Ray's bedside when he was passing away with his producer, Chips Moman, and contributed some money towards the funeral. That's what I was told. I hope that's true, because let me tell you, Elvis never failed to say, if it wasn't for Roy Hamilton, there'd be no Elvis Presley.
It's really amazing, and it's sort of like full circle on many different levels.
Here we go again.
I had my dear close friend Ronnie Spector's son come to the concert, which he was excited about, and you chatted with him on the phone and made his day, and we'll all connect again. Roy Hamilton Jr. and his lovely wife Maria are not only fans of our show and has been a guest, they've become dear friends, as you have as well, Tony. Here you are talking about his incredible father, and here they are posting during the show that you're on right now saying, "Hello, Tony, from Maria and I. We are super fans of yours, Roy Hamilton Jr." It doesn't stop, Tony. It doesn't stop.
I'll tell you how much it keeps on going. So there's an example, like with Bruce Morrow. You're right, full circle, right? It's like God's putting this little thing together, right? Now let's go to Jackie Wilson's son.
Bobby, yeah.
Okay, so I told you I was at the Brooklyn Fox when I met Frankie Valli, who was the closer, the great Jackie Wilson. I'm in the wings, waiting to go on. He closed the show. He pulls me aside and he said, "Listen to me, young man. I want you to play to the last row. Do not play to the front row. You already have the front row. The people in the back row shouldn't be made to feel like they're sitting in the last seat. Make them just as important, if not more important, than the people in the front row. Because the last show I saw you do, Tony, all you did was watch the front row. Lift your head up and work the back of the house." I never forgot that. And then he gave me this piece of advice. Whatever you can close with, in terms of a song, you can open with. And whatever you can open with, you can close with. So, two of the most important moments I ever learned on how to perform came from that young man's father, who, by the way, I've had on my show, and he supports me like a son. He calls me Papa Tony, Jackie's son, right?
Yes, Bobby, yeah.
Bobby, he calls me like Papa Tony. So I got Papa Tony there. I got little Ronnie's son,
Austin,
right?
Yep.
Austin. We just talked about that story with Ronnie and I. We first met. That tells me that Ronnie, this is going to get weird, okay? So Ronnie is here. Jackie is here, and Roy are here, all sharing this interview.
Absolutely right, my friend. Absolutely right.
Ooh.
Tomorrow, Joey D is here, believe it or not.
Oh my God, another one.
Yes.
Another one. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Brenda Russell on Wednesday.
Oh, she's crazy.
She terrific too, huh?
By the way, have you ever read Joey's book, Jimmy?
Yes, it was sent to me, and it's incredible.
It's incredible.
Oh, it really is.
He discovered. This man discovered these people. Yeah. Jimi Hendrix. He discovered Jimi Hendrix, was in his band. I watched them, 1961. I remember sitting there with Dick Clark going, this band is unbelievable. Felix Cavallari, the Bugatti Brothers background.
He's great, yeah.
I mean, they became the Rascals. It's incredible. By the way, the Rascals are going to be opening May 18th in New York at the Sony Hall.
We saw them when they came to this region here, and because Felix was a guest on the show too. They put on an extraordinary show, and everybody was on their feet with that as well. Really, and they are sweethearts of people. Truly, Felix is absolutely. You know, you mentioned book, Tony Orlando, putting pen to paper, huh?
Yeah. Well, you know, I did have an autobiography go out. I wasn't happy with it. It left out some of the great stories because sometimes publishers think, well, it should be this, it should be that. I went with it. It's a good book. I mean, it's a good book. It's all true. Nothing bad in it. But I wanted to share, Jim, come on. How do you describe a kid? Comes off a rooftop that you showed just now in New York and Chelsea. Has worked for 9 presidents. Really? Has slept at the White House, and in the middle of the night goes downstairs to the kitchen of the White House quietly, not to wake anybody up, and there is President Ford making tea, and he says, what would you like, a peanut butter and jelly sandwich? Me? Sleeping in the Lincoln's bedroom as a guest? Me having my own television show? I'm one of those people that say, can I have your autograph? The guest that came on, I wanted their autograph. This has been a fairy tale. for me. And when I do this show with you, you take it out of me. You find that because you know what it means to me.
Yeah.
But look, I really believe that God's hand has been on me, and it continues to be on me right now, because that's pretty weird. You come up with, of all people, I've never met Roy Hamilton's son till today.
Well, guess
And
what?
yet he
says.
was so important to me.
Thank you, Tony, for confirming this for us. We love you for telling us that story. Love, peace, and blessings from Maria and I. Heart, heart, heart from Roy Hamilton Jr. For you, Tony. And it's deserved. It's like, it's you're a humble guy, as energetic and passionate as you are, but you have obviously really and continue to leave an indelible mark on people, that are in the industry who have done what you've done in terms of just connecting and entertaining and making it through, who respect and revere you as much as the fans and everybody else around the world. Like I said in the intro before I brought you on screen, doing my Gettysburg Address intro that I usually do,
Great.
Every single person I talk to, off the air, on the air, wherever, and I mention your name, and people in the industry, people out, they all love you, and they say he's one of the classiest, nicest, sweetest guys on earth. That's why I'm always excited when you're on, because I don't even call these interviews, I call these conversations, which is different. It's deeper, it's warmer, it's free flowing. And it's so much of a joy, because there's a certain, if you didn't do what you've done in this life, you could be a pastor, a minister. You have this in you, this ministerial quality that touches people beyond just the entertainment value, which is there, but there's something deeper people are left with. Plus you're funny and you're witty, and people just are moved and they can't get enough. That 3.5 hours, people were like, no, you are not going.
I'm going to tell you a story. I don't think I've told on the air to anybody about the minister side of me.
I spotted that right away, because I've heard the same about me. So I've spotted that in you.
It takes one to know one, right? I told you that earlier in this conversation, right? So I get a call from Elvis Presley's manager, Colonel Parker. Did I tell you this before?
No.
I'm working the Hilton Hotel at the same time that Elvis is working in the 70s. And he obviously came to see a show that I wasn't aware of. And I get a call, and he says, can we meet for lunch? And I said, wow. I said, yeah, because I want to manage you. Now, I didn't know if he ever managed anybody other than Elvis. So I thought, my God, Elvis Presley manager wanted to manage me. So I go for the lunch. And in he comes, and he sits down. And he says, I have an idea. Now, remember, I was friends with the Colonel up until he died. And there were good sides and bad sides to him, as we all know. It's all been public now. But that goes for a lot of people, including all of us. We all have good sides, bad sides. So he says, Tony, I was at your show this weekend, and here's my idea. I want to open the Church of the Yellow Ribbon. I'll repeat that. I want to open the Church of the Yellow Ribbon.
My God.
Jim, when do you hear this? And he goes, I go, pardon me? The Church of the Yellow Ribbon? He goes, Tony, I saw a minister in you. You were up on top of the booth, and you had people singing, amen, and the place was going crazy. I'm telling you, Tony, have you ever seen a show called The 700 Club? I said,
Pat
sure.
Robinson, yeah.
I said, yeah, sure. He goes, have you ever seen what they sell on there? I go, yeah. They sell little crosses and they sell baubles and they sell, right? I said, yeah. That's millions of dollars, Tony. I said, okay. He said, can you imagine how much money we could make with the Church of the Yellow Ribbon? I said, Colonel, I'm going to tell you something. You may not talk to me ever again after this. I said, I just realized something about you and your relationship with Elvis. You're a very lucky man. I said, because in your life, the lightning will only strike once. You will never see lightning striking twice again, because that's the worst idea I ever heard in my whole life. And if you don't take it back, lightning will strike you. And he looked at me and says, you don't like it? I said, no. I said, look, I'm very flattered that you think I have something for you, but I couldn't do that. So years go by, and in a funny way, I tell the story to Priscilla Presley. I said, Priscilla, I got to, after all these years, I got to tell you the story. And I tell her the story about Elvis, about the Colonel. And she said, he was always about merchandise. In fact, if you watch the movie, the Elvis movie, he not only had it covered with all the bears and all the songs and all the stuff and the shirts, he had a button that said, I hate Elvis. He made sure that he even covered the people that hated Elvis. So that was his MO. But when he told me, I want to open the Church of the Yellow Ribbon, I said, man, dear Lord, this is one lucky man, because this is not an idea that anybody would go for but him. And then Priscilla said, you know what's so crazy? You probably would have made $1 billion if you had done it. She said, because he was that way. But I just found it odd that that's the way his mind went, Yeah. But it's funny that you picked it up.
Yeah. Yes.
The ministerial part.
Yes.
And you know what ministering really is conveying your heart.
Yes.
Because when you have God in your heart, that's what people are receiving. They're not receiving you. They're receiving the Lord.
That's exactly right. And I want to show you something that just confirming the type of person that you are. Cheryl S. watching says, Tony pushed me around in my wheelchair in the room at the last meet and greet in Michigan, something I will never forget. Saw that she was in the wheelchair and you helped her out, and you touched her life. Here you are, the person that's doing the performing and on stage, and you've got all of this to do, but you saw somebody who was a fan and took care of her, Tony.
Well, it reflects my sister, It comes back to my sister, she was cerebral palsy. She had an IQ of an 8-month-old baby until she died at 21. She was my greatest professor, my greatest teacher, because she taught me the importance of me being able to scratch my own itch. We take something like that for granted. She couldn't scratch her own itch. I had to search for the itch. And let me tell you, when I found that itch and I saw her go, I knew there was no seizures coming. So it took a young girl of an IQ of an 8-month-old baby to teach me what really is important in life. That little girl, that young girl, I remember her in the wheelchair. And I remembered her reaction, and it made my day. I didn't make her day, it made my day.
Your music has made so many people's days. Maureen in Arizona says in 1981, when the Iranian hostages were released, Arizona put on a huge welcome home for them. There were yellow ribbons all over downtown Phoenix, and Talia Yellow Ribbon was blasted all over the PA systems throughout Phoenix, Arizona.
Well, that's when the yellow ribbon became a national symbol, when they came home. Absolutely.
And that was happening all across the country on so many different levels. Speaking of all of that, you have something very, very fabulous that's coming up. There it is there on the screen. Tell us about this Armed Forces Day event, something very special happening right there in beautiful Branson.
Yeah, it's very important for me to share this with you. I'm presenting and launching something we call a tribute to Valor. You You see it down the lower part of this thing. There it says honor and tribute to Valor founder, Medal of Honor recipient Gary Luttrell. He started this organization just prior to the pandemic. And what he does is he brings the Medal of Honor recipients to schools all over the nation, and he shares with them the 6 core values that they live by. And the most important value of all to him, he feels, is integrity. And by sharing those 6 core values, hoping that people and young people from different schools, from underprivileged areas in LA and Chicago and New York and all around the country, they're able to feel what it is to live by these 6 core values. And we've already visited 90,000 students prior to the pandemic. Now that the pandemic is over, I want to go back to where I live now, my hometown of Branson, which is one of the most patriotic cities you'll ever see. And I want to launch it because I really believe that if your child went to a school that lived by the 6 core values that the Medal of Honor recipients live by, you would want your child to go to that school. And then we also take the underprivileged children, and we're taking 72 of them this weekend, to NASA. We fly them on 2 C-130s that the United States Air Force has given to us free to be able to have kids experience aeronautics, space travel, robotics. Maybe it will change their lives. Some of these children have never been on a plane before. And here they're going to fly on one of the most important military aircrafts that there is, to NASA. They get off the plane, they go in, and they see everything that NASA has given us in space and where they're headed. They see what robotics are. We're bringing Dean Kamen, who is one of the really professors and fathers of robotics. He's the guy that did a prosthetic that can pick up a grape without squishing it and pick up a raisin without dropping it. That's almost like a human arm. This is an important part of my life now. This is as much as important as anything I've ever done. So my time now in my retirement is for the future of our country, is to have the children of our veterans be the proper education, be giving those 6 core values to understand what it is to believe in this great country. If it was not for this great country, I mean, we wouldn't have, we would be speaking German right now.
Mm-hmm.
Or we would be speaking Japanese, right? Or Chinese. And there wouldn't be a friendship between us and Germany and Japan. There wouldn't be any of that. Our country, whenever there's a terrible happening, we're the first ones to be there. We're the first ones to give the money. And we're the last ones to get the credit from sometimes our own people. So this is important. So tribute to Valor, along with my friend Gary Luttrell, we are going to, on this Saturday, as you see on the screen, have a free show, free performance by me. It's just a few songs and videos, and I'm going to introduce and launch Tribute to Valor in this great city of Branson, Missouri. I hope everybody in the country is able to come. Every year I'm going to do it here.
That is so beautiful. You heard it here on the show, folks. That is going to be something spectacular. What a beautiful thing. And like I said, during the event at Mohegan Sun, the way you took time to celebrate all of those veterans, it was one of the most moving experiences that many of us have ever experienced, whether we fought or served or not, just to see. We were, in this very divided world we're in right now with everything. I like vanilla, you like chocolate. I like this, I like that. You brought everybody together, everybody throughout the whole concert, but especially at that moment, everybody was one. We were all one together, and you led the charge with that, my friend.
Well, it's the veterans that lead the charge. All I do is try to remind people. And that's the reason why it affects you like that. Because when you see them up close and personal, and you see these tears roll out of their eyes, these big guys that are getting up. The last time they didn't even want to talk about their experiences because it was so horrible in Vietnam. You can't even talk about it. It was such horrible times for them. But when the whole 10,000 people yelled out, "Welcome home," tears were coming out of their eyes with a smile from ear to ear. You saw it, I saw it. And it's moments like that that this country needs all the time, because we have 24-hour cycle television.
Yeah.
With talking heads, one's doing this, one's doing that, and it confuses our young people. You know, our young people in this country go through something you and I never went through. It's called the internet. They have information coming at light speed. Boom, 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 boom. How fast can their brains say, is this right? Is this true? Is this fact? Is this not? Am I being used? Am I being manipulated? Our young people today, they're being attacked by misinformation and information that is right. But to be able to choose puts them in a precarious position. And then sometimes it causes a little brainwashing or a little bit hate for the country. And it's not anything other than people using that incredible medium of social media and internet to their advantage that want to destroy this country. And it's very easy to do because they're very special and very smart at how to get that information to people. And young people are vulnerable. You know, there's nothing harder than to be a teenager. You're half adult and half a child. You want to be an adult, but you don't know how to be it. You don't want to be a child, but you are. You're somewhere between. And that's where they get you.
Yes.
And we have to protect them. You know, we have to protect them. And I'm not saying that all the information that they get is bad. No, we're getting some great, wonderful information. But how do you decipher? If I was 25 years old today, I would be going, wait a minute, hold a second. This is coming at me like a hurricane or a tornado. Give me a moment to think about this. You can't have a spontaneous reaction. So our young people are more vulnerable because of that than we were ever in that. We were never in that crosshair.
Yeah.
We never. So we have to protect them the best we can. And they're all going to say, what do you know? You're an old generation. Hey, we did the same thing to young people. But we have to never stop trying to say to them, look, you're born in the greatest country that God ever put together on this planet, period. You can look at history and they'll tell you that's the truth. And we're not even 300 years old. China's 5,000 years old. Middle East, 5,000 plus years old. At least that we know of. Nothing's written before that. It's just bones in the ground. But we're only not even 300 years old. We're infants. This country's an infant, learning how to walk, learning how to talk, compared to those other countries. And we do a hell of a job. We really do. And this country never gets the credit it's due.
Anybody ever ask you to run for office over the years?
Yeah, I have.
I'm sure they have, right?
Yeah, I have. And I go, oh, no, thank you. No, because you know what? You have less a voice sometimes when you're in office.
Yes, that is so very, very true. Yes, that is.
You can do more by action. You know, words don't mean anything to me. Action is everything to me. And a lot of the times politicians and people in office, it's about words. Words manipulate my election. Get the vote for me. You know, there's a very thin line between the love of power and the power of love. Very thin line.
Yes. You know, you also said something which I think is incredibly invaluable to anybody that's in these industries or just even outside the industries looking in. And that is about, and this is one of the things I think people love about you. You are famous. You are well known. You are of legendary status. However, you have fun with it. And you're very open and real and authentic about and understand that fame is a word. And
Sure.
And with all of the accolades and successes and multi-million-dollar record sales and all the people you've worked with, all the people you've mentored, all the music, all the performances, you are still Tony. And I think people find that so refreshing. And you've been very open about how fame is not all that it's
It's a
cracked up
mirage.
to be. A
It's a
mirage.
mirage. You know, I told you this on the last interview. Fame isn't really fame at all. It only appears that way from a distance. So what does that mean? It means fame is a marquee. Take the nun down, fame is over. Put the fame name back up, you're famous again. That's all fame is. If you were to try to define fame in a solid way, you can't. It's invisible,
Yeah.
but it exists, much like a rainbow, right? You look at a rainbow, you can walk through a rainbow. You can't touch a rainbow. You can't smell a rainbow, but I dare you to tell me it's not there. Well, fame is very much like that. You think you know what it is, like a rainbow, you think you know what it is. But really, is it? Is it really just a bunch of molecules reflecting water? That's all it is.
Yeah.
But to the eye, it's like this beautiful miracle. Fame has that same effect on people. And once you swallow the pill of fame and take it as a healing medicine, because it's a double-edged sword. You can take fame and do good with it, like Jerry Lewis did with his muscular dystrophy. You can do it, use that same machete of fame to help veterans, but you can still commit suicide with fame. And you and I know many people who were famous who chose that road, because there's a serious dark side to fame if you take it seriously.
When did you realize not to? Because that's very inspiring. People are like, look at Tony Orlando. He's famous. How did he get through it by not allowing himself to go down those roads?
My sister.
Yeah.
There I go for the grace of God. My sister. I mean, look, Michael Jackson, is he famous? What does he mean to your life right now?
Right.
Good memory, great songs, great record. Oh,
right.
Okay? Sinatra. We love Sinatra. I still love Sinatra. Love Michael. But really, what effect are they having on you, on your life right now?
Right. Lucille Ball.
What do they mean to anything really, other than a memory and a hit record and song? But when they were alive, oh my God, there's Michael. Oh my God, there's Frank. Oh my God. No, it was just names on a marquee who pulled their pants down to poop, no different than you or me. Once you put it in that perspective, you realize that fame is nothing but a mirage. It's what you think it is, not really what it is. And if you don't take it seriously, you can enjoy fame. Oh, I love when people come up and say, oh, Tony, we love you. I love it. I love it. I'd be stupid to say I don't. I love it. I love the hugging. I love giving an autograph. I love what it means to them. And I'm there for them. But I'm not going to take it like I'm something special and they're not.
Another reason why they love you, because you're so real and open and honest about it all, my friend. I think it's really spectacular. And I think people just, Maureen in Arizona writes, Tony, I can't even find the words to tell you how much love and respect I have for you. Thank you for all you have done through your songs and entertainment to make this world a better place.
Thank you, Maureen.
You know what I mean? It's, yeah. What are some other things, the book, that you're working on, people might be curious about post, the farewell part of things?
Okay, so I'm like an idea machine.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And a lot of the ideas that I had, because of the work I was doing, they would go away. But I noticed somebody else would have the same idea a few years later, and it would work for them, whether it be a movie, whether it be an invention. My daughter Jenna can tell you, that's me. I have an idea. What do you think of this? How about this for a restaurant? So I'm constantly, for some reason, have this kind of creative urge on a lot of levels. But the one area that I really, really want to try to flex is my writing muscle. And where do I take that? I want to write a couple of screenplays. I want to write something for film. I finished the Broadway show. I wrote the book. I didn't have somebody write it for me. I wrote all the music with Michael Amardian and some with my brother David. And Michael Amardian is I don't know, 17 Grammys, whatever it is, he's won. And Academy Award winner, Arthur's theme, that was his.
Yeah.
So I want to be able to write for films, write for television, but I don't want to be the actor in it. I don't want to be the performer in it. I want to be the writing part of it. I want to start it from the very root of it and watch it grow, and then watch somebody else become famous so that I can tell him or her not to take it serious.
That's a beautiful thing, and it's so true. And I think the fact that they're hearing that coming from you, Tony, it's just like a real stamp, and so much more, which I think is so exciting for everybody to hear.
Thanks. And Jim, you know something? And I want to tell this to other people out there who are hitting 80, if you're out there.
Happy birthday
because
to you.
You have a very young audience. But if there's somebody, and you talk to your father, your grandmother, father, you can start another business and another career at 80. Nothing tells you that because you're retired, you close down and close your mind down and close shop. You just reinvent yourself in another way to satisfy the hunger that you have to give. And my hunger at 80 is not going to be traveling through the airport on the road and trying to get up for the shows at my age. No. My now new business at 80, I'm starting a whole new business, is my explosive entertainment company, where I can do film, plays, produce young artists, write songs, do whatever it happens. And if they happen, great. And if they don't happen, it's still great. I'm starting a new business, a new Tony.
Thanks, Jim, for having such an intelligent guest. Tony makes so much sense about all that he says.
Thank you.
I think that's really, really beautiful. During the course of that fabulous event at Mohegan Sun, there were a lot of different people who also sent their wishes. Marie Osmond, Frankie Valli, and Lionel Richie. And it was extraordinary to see all those videos. And one, to show that you reach into so many different generations, which I think is fantastic. There were all different generations and age groups at the concert, all different age groups. I saw 15-year-olds. I saw, all the way up, and it was incredible. All different cultures, all different backgrounds. And one of the folks that loves you dearly as well is Adam Sandler.
Tony Orlando could not be a nicer human being. Love you, Tony. Never not excited when I speak to you. You're just such a genuine good person. You care about everybody else. I'm so honored that I know you. I'm so honored that we work together. I can't believe that I get to text with you and talk with you and see you and hug you. And I love you, man. I'm so thankful for all the great stuff you brought the world, and how every story you've ever told me means so much. And I can't believe I'm friends with you. I love you, pal, and your whole family. And I just admire everything you do and say and the way you make people feel. And when you spoke at our buddy Brooks's funeral, man, I was just so happy how elegantly and just what you had to say about the man, and how you summed everything up and how we all felt. And you do that all the time. Whenever I speak to you, I say, man, this guy, he summed it all up beautifully. And I love you, man. And thanks for the great work you gave us. And look forward to being on your radio show. And But man, when you sang at one of our parties, good Lord, the audience couldn't believe they were watching you. You're just quite a man. Quite a man. We all love you, every one of us. Mwah.
Beautiful stuff. When you hear that from, I mean, it just, you can't even, you can't script that.
That's Adam. You want to know what Adam is? You just saw Adam Sandler. 24/7. The only time he departs from that is when he plays the character he's asked to play in a movie. But the moment he walks off that scene, that's the guy you see every time. He's just if he thinks I'm something, you should be with him. He's just one of the most complete, unselfish, kind human beings that God has ever put on the map, and someone who doesn't take fame seriously at all. There's an example. He doesn't take fame is nothing to him. Relationships, family, his kids, they come first. His friends like Brooks Arthur, he talked about Brooks Arthur. Brooks Arthur was his music guy from 1993. And by the way, Brooks Arthur was my friend since I'm 15 years old.
Wow.
And he was the one that brought me to Donnie Kirshner and Carole King. And then he became friends with Adam because he moved into my house in Los Angeles and became friends with Adam on Saturday Night Live. And so there's this unbelievable thread of respect and friendship there. That's unbelievable. What you saw there moved me to tears, almost just did it again. And every time I saw it, and on stage when it came up on the big screen, I couldn't hold it in. For him, do you see anything about, this is a man, listen to this, Jim. Adam Sandler, box office, has earned for Sony Films, get ready, over $3 billion with a B dollars. No acting, comedian, comic has ever done that in history. None, ever. That's how famous and how loved he is by theater goers. And now on Netflix, he's number one.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
He's the most viewed of anybody on Netflix. So Adam Sandler, for him to think that about me, it's like I go, what? And then I get a little cocky of myself. I go, hey, Adam Sandler thinks I'm really something. How about that? Hey, Jenny, did you hear that? Adam Sandler thinks I'm something. Like anybody would, wouldn't you? Wouldn't you?
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Because he's earned our respect, right? He's earned our respect. His talent and his humanity and his humble side and his all man and his all father and husband. Let me tell you, I've watched him on the set. We were on the set with That's My Boy. All he was worried about was, I got to take my daughters out for a swim.
Mm.
Everybody else is sitting down between scenes. There's Adam out in the water. Everybody's, come on, girls, let's have some fun. And I don't know, how old were they, Jenny? About 4 or 5 years old? 4 or 5 years old, the girls were.
And he was on top of it. Mm.
Yeah, he's unbelievable. And Lionel's the same thing. Lionel Richie's the same way. Heart, all heart.
You had so many extraordinary people that were saying some things straight from their heart. Lionel Richie, Marie Osmond, Chris Angel, the entire audience. You have this wonderful. I've always admired him. He's I think he's a New York kid too, isn't he? From
Long Island.
Me too. Yeah, Long Island. I'd love to get him on the show if he's ever got 10 minutes. It would be great to have him with us. But you have this wonderful admiration for one another. You really admire and respect him, and he has this incredible admiration and respect for you. I think it's such a beautiful thing. And his family was there at Mohegan Sun, and they were there, at the VIP afterwards. His mom and everybody. How special is that?
They're my family. His family is my family. Chris calls me Pops. Now, let me tell you, even my son and my daughter are okay with that. He really thinks of me, since his dad passed away many years ago, as a father figure. And he makes no bones about it. He was recently on my son John's podcast, and he said, hey, you're my brother now. Literally, because your dad is my dad. Now, if you know the story and the history of his dad, for him to call me dad was really a compliment, because his dad was everything to his sons. And his dad was way ahead of the curve. He had a perfect physique. He was always healthy. He was a weightlifter. He was a bodybuilder. He was concerned about what he ate and so forth. And he raised his children to love family. And let me tell you about Criss Angel. You look at this character that he built, and you get the feeling with magic sometimes it's very dark. There's nothing dark about him. He's as light as can be. He is all about his children, all about his family, all about his brothers, all about his mother, all about his father, and all about his adopted father. He comes to tears on Christmas as he gives me a Christmas present. He throws his arms around me after a show. Pops, I love you. And he means it. No, I am fortunate. I do have a son also in the name of Criss Angel. Christopher, I call him. When I call him Chris, he's the entertainer. When I call him Christopher, he's my son. And I love him, and I will die for him as I will for my own children. He's that special, and he's that brilliant. Everything that he's created, if I tell you, he may be the highest paid performer in Las Vegas history. I can't give you the figure. It's not fair to him. But the figure is numbers that make you go, what?
Yeah.
How many millions?
Yeah.
And he did it for the first 10 years at the Luxor, and now for the next 5 years at the Planet Hollywood. It's 15 years of never not selling out. And what does he do? He takes his money and he contributes it to the Cancer Fund for Children. Millions of dollars he's given to heal cancer for children. His own son just got past leukemia and and is cancer free. This is a rare guy, man. This is one. If you're out there, you ever go to Vegas, everybody, don't even think about it. Go see Criss Angel. Oh, and go see Carrot Top too. You'll laugh your butt off.
Carrot Top's another one. Real quick, how cool was it, to have these lovely ladies join you on stage? You had such a look of surprise and awe, and it was phenomenal. Everybody loved the relationship, the friendship that you've had with these two lovely ladies for so long. The way they tease you and you tease each other. It's just, everybody loves it. You can see the genuine love between all of you.
On the screen, the one on the right teases me the worst. The one on the left, as a matter of fact, I'll tell you to keep that picture for a second.
Yeah.
That's Thelma Hopkins on the audience's right.
Right.
And that's Joyce Vincent on the audience's left. So when we went to do the variety show, Joyce is a very shy, soft-spoken, but Thelma, she's Helen. I mean, she's just, forget it.
Yeah.
And that's why she's been on television as an actress, the longest running sitcom actress in history, 52
Unbelievable.
years.
All these shows,
all the shows. So the first week, Fred Silverman says, Tony, what are we going to do with Joyce? She's too quiet. What are you going to do? I said, what do you mean? Well, she doesn't have the way Thelma hits on you. It's almost like Cher with Sonny. We want that to come from Joyce. I said, no. Here's what's going to separate us. Because if it wasn't for Sonny and Cher, there'd be no Tony Orlando and Dawn. Because we were definitely copying them. I mean, the network was, at least. We were using that same idea. So I go, it's the difference between Sonny and Cher and us is you have the devil on this shoulder and you have the angel on the other. And if we treat the comedy that way, it will be believable. And that's what we did. And it stayed that way for the last 50 years. Because if you know us, when she come on stage, Thelma, she hit me right away.
And she did then too.
Yes, and she did then too. And
but
she's
you were
genius.
visibly moved when they came out on stage. You were visibly moved.
I love them.
Yeah.
They are my sisters. I love them.
Yeah.
We had a carpet ride together, another fairy tale ride together. You know, Thelma and Joyce, a lot of people don't know this, but aside from the success that they had with us, Tony Orlando and Dawn,
Yeah.
they were the background singers on most of the Motown hits that you heard. They were the background singers on Heard It Through the Grapevine with Marvin Gaye.
That's right.
They were the background singers on Shaft with Isaac Hayes. In fact, Thelma, she was the one that said the same way to Isaac Hayes when he said, John Shaft, he's a bad mother. She went, shut your mouth. That was Thelma. So everything they've ever done has gone to an iconic level. Everything they've touched, including yours truly. When they came into my life, my career zoomed. Prior to that, I had hit records. Yeah, I had a couple of hit records, but not until I had Thelma and Joyce did this thing explode. And they had, not only because of their comedy, their acting, their kindness, but their incredible ability to sing. Because they forced me to come up to their level.
And you can see the love between you. And what was so nice is they were there with and for you and everybody else on that final monumental, so important evening. And they were there celebrating you, and they were there rooting you on, as all of the incredible celebrities were that came on stage.
And you too. You were there
and
too.
We were right there cheering and dancing and you know, doing all of the words to the songs. It was just absolutely, it was tough. I said this to you when I spoke to you on the phone. And I spoke to my buddy Austin as well, Ronnie Spector's son, and others. There were a lot of people I knew personally that were there as well. People I told you should go. They got tickets, and people throughout the region. And it felt, now I said, because I was laughing with everybody, I was like, if I feel this way and you guys feel this way, could you imagine how Tony feels? It was so epic and moving, and there were so many years of all of our lives that were attached to that evening. There were so many songs, so many stories, so many people that were attached to decades of living and of life and of family and childhoods and people that were with us and people that are gone, and so many things that we were all swirling around thinking about as you were knocking out of the park with everybody around you doing the same. There was withdrawal the day after. The day after was like, it felt like a loss. It felt like this was so, you know what I mean? It was so like incredible. It plugged into so many aspects of the heart, the soul, living, seeing somebody that we've always, you know, admired and respected, who is a real person, who is a tremendous talent, living his moment and compiling all of these years, and then all of these incredible people that wanted to celebrate it with the videos and coming on stage, driving some people hundreds of miles, 10,000 plus people still talking about, people on their feet. The day after, and 3.5 hours of it. And when I told people, they were like, was there an intermission? He must have taken 2 intermissions. I said, he didn't. Everybody, the lights didn't go out. The lights didn't go out. And they were like, you've got to be kidding. He is the entertainer of all entertainers. And I said, yes. And anybody who was there knew that. But the day after felt boring. It was like, I felt like something, the world stopped. It was a very unusual feeling.
What a beautiful thing to say. Thank you so much, Jim.
By
the way, can I mention someone we didn't mention on the video? Larry the Cable Guy.
Oh, yes.
With his whole family. Get her done, Tony. Come on, Tony. I mean, he's one of the, Dan Whitney, which is his real name, is one of the brightest, smartest, kindest friends of my family. He's just amazing. He brought his whole family on to show their love. And then Paul Anka sent me a tape. I'm going to send it to you. I want you to play it, okay? He sent me a new lyric to My Way. I'm going to send it to you, and maybe somewhere down the line, you can play it. Maybe we'll come
I will
back on
do
the
that.
air
I will do
because
that.
what he did was he
And we have a whole bunch more videos that we didn't have time to upload, but we're
and
going to do
that's one of them. But I got
we'll
to
do a
tell you,
special thing where we will air those. Yeah.
I got to tell you, I don't know what you're going to do with this show because you have a lot of editing to do. For God's sake, there's a lot of. This is a. You know what this is? This is a telethon. We should do a telethon together, you and I.
Tony, we are LIVE. This is
Oh
live.
my God!
Yeah, we do. You know, you love live. We are live. We do live. This is all live.
Did you get all those curse words out of me too?
Yes, Pastor.
Oh my God! I know. You know something.
You have to do
I didn't
Tony
realize.
Orlando
I didn't
live. Are you kidding
Well,
me?
you know what? I didn't realize it was.
We
live.
do all the shows basically live. I love live.
Well, live
all
is
these years of live television, live radio. I love live because anything can happen, and it's.
I'll give you an example. When we did the TV show, Tony Orlando and Dawn show, we were the only variety show that didn't cut pieces. In other words, most variety shows did comedy on Thursday, music on Friday. And I didn't want that. I wanted the show to go, as you see it, is how we did it. So we really were live to tape.
Right, live to tape, yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Right.
So on the radio show, the reason I don't go live is because I was always on the road.
Yes.
And I couldn't go live. But let me tell you what that provided for me. That allowed me to do a storytelling show.
Mm-hmm.
And edit that show down. Like, for instance, when I did Clive Davis, I did 4 hours with Clive Davis, but it was 4 hours about Whitney Houston. I could get that down to 2 hours. I would have never been able to do that 4 hours with him if I didn't edit. So sometimes the audiences are getting, in radio anyway, better. But in this format, live is the only way to go because you may say something that is news. You may say something that has never been heard before. You may say something that you regret, but that's what makes live so interesting is because it's a free form.
Well, in the words of your great friend who was there cheering you on that night, we'll do it live. We'll do it live. Bill O'Reilly.
You know what got me about Bill O'Reilly? I've known Bill O'Reilly a long time, and I'm a big fan of Bill O'Reilly.
And Marvin Scott and Laurie Scott and Rita Cosby, they're all friends.
They're all friends, and great friend. And John Catsimatidis and Margot, who own WABC, they came. Chad Lopez, the whole muspucha, as they say. And that's a Puerto Rican word for family, I think. It's actually Yiddish, but muspucha, the whole family was there. But I forgot where I'm going with this. You see, this is live now.
We're talking about Bill O'Reilly and live.
With Bill O'Reilly, first of all, people don't realize he's 9'2". When you stand next to Bill O'Reilly, you talk to him like this. It's amazing how tall he is. That's the first thing. Second, he's a very kind-hearted guy. He came on it as the hard, guy on TV, on Fox and all. And now on Newsmax, but he's no, it's a different station now for him. But he's a hard-hitting guy. He tells it like it is. But I was worried that in Connecticut, when I introduced him, that he might get some applause and some like ooh, because it's the whole thing, like you say, chocolate and vanilla ice cream. What kind of ice cream you like in the world today? So I thought maybe some Democrats would boo him and some Republicans would cheer him. I was shocked when he got a standing ovation from 10,000 people. I say, thank God. I said, thank God, because he deserved that. He's been so great. And sure enough, he got up, said those wonderful things about me. When he walked back, you were there. I'm not lying. He got a standing ovation. He did.
He did. Yes. He did.
And he's a Long Island boy like you.
Yes, that's right. You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
You had so many incredible people there. It was just really spectacular. And, I got to tell you, the production value, the lighting and everything that was
That's
done,
Susan Mineo. That's my manager, did the lighting.
It was epic. And it was, there were so many different lighting changes and everything that they had to do was just spectacular, Tony. They really...
Well, she's to be credited for that. She's a manager, but she said, I'm going to go do the lighting tonight. And along with the the skillful staff and the crew. I mean, that crew at Mohegan Sun, imagine, they do everyone from Lady Gaga to a symphony in that place. So they know what they're doing. And Bruce just played there, by the way. 1 week after us, Bruce Springsteen was in that same
That's right.
room.
It was 1 week after. Yes, exactly.
Yeah. So they do hard rock, they do pop, they do the Jonas Brothers, they do Taylor Swift. Taylor Swift cut her teeth in that room. That's where she started.
Have a home there. You will always have a home there, even just visiting and saying hello to everybody.
Thank
You've
you.
always, and you'll always have a home here. You are not only a great friend of our show and a sweetheart of a guy, but I am personally enriched, not only having admired everything you've done through the years, but knowing you personally and speaking with you off air without the lights, camera, action. And you really are one of the nicest guys that God put on this planet, my friend. And I can't wait to see you again in the flesh, whether it's in New York or it's in Branson or wherever, or we break bread. I absolutely look forward to that. And I will let Austin, Ronnie Spector's son, know all the beautiful words you shared as well for him.
And may I, before you leave,
Oh,
just thank the Troopers. The Troopers is my fan club. They've been my fan club. Some of these kids, I say, how long you been coming to see me? And one of them will say, 6 years old. How old are you now? 54. I'm not kidding.
Yes,
I am not kidding.
Yeah.
And they were there. They paid their own way. They got their own hotel rooms. They got their own airline tickets. They all came. They all cried. They all hugged. And I know they watch your show. And to every trooper, all of you, and I don't want to name one because then somebody will get their hurt feelings, but I'm going to make individual tapes for all of you. And thank you for the years that you gave me. And you, young man, thank you for the support, the love you not only gave me the first time on your show, but tonight as well. We are solid brothers from now on. Remember that. I love you. Thank you, Jim, for having me.
I love you very much as well, my friend. And you're surrounded by a beautiful and supported and loving family. And it was wonderful seeing them there as well, and give them big hugs and kisses. It was just Mother's Day and the birthdays, and anniversaries. Jenny, of course. Jenny's in the house. She's a sweetheart of a person, truly. All of you.
She's an angel. She's a true angel.
You really, and she knows that she's got a very special dad, and it's just a beautiful relationship.
Thank you.
You're amazing, my friend. I really hope you enjoyed the time with me as I have with you.
Always. Let's do it again.
What are you doing tomorrow night? You want to come on with we'll come on with Joey D.
Call me.
He'll be here. He'll be here.
Jenny will work it out. Let's surprise him.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah.
He would love it. He's all excited.
Watching now, but he's watching now.
And it's his daughter-in-law and son that watched this show and reached out to me and said, we want...
You're talking about Renee?
Yes.
Yeah.
They reached out. They said, we love your show and we would love to have Joey come on. And I'm like, oh my God, absolutely. So he's on tomorrow.
Want to hear a great thing about Renee? She took care of, you ready? Barry Gibb for 20 years.
My God.
She was Barry Gibb's lady in the house, friend to the wife, friend to the husband, friend of the family, took care of him through sickness and health for 20 years. Renee.
Another sweetheart of a person. Really. Yeah. So we've been, as I've been chatting with you and Jenny, we've been chatting with Renee and everybody there to get tomorrow ready. And he's with us tomorrow. So
he's one of my professors. He taught a lot of people how to do the stage, that guy, let me tell you.
Well, I mean, we're going to be, he's doing it at 5 Eastern, which is 4 Central, which is 2 Pacific. If you're around, we can.
I'm Central, so at 4 o'clock tomorrow, I don't know where I am, but I'm going to try to be there with you. Okay, I'll have Jenny check it out.
I'll send her the link to sign in, and if you pop in, we'll surprise Joey D. Boy, would he love that, huh?
I love him.
You're amazing,
and I love you. Go to sleep.
Love you back, my friend. Thanks for everything. Congratulations again on just everything. And we'll see you again soon, my friend. Okay.
I look forward to it. I make sure.
Bye-bye now. The one and only Tony Orlando stopping by the Jim Masters Show series once again, and always an epic conversation, always an epic time. And we just let the clock roll. We don't even look at the clock because he has so much to share and so much to say. And we have more videos that we wanted to show, but we didn't have enough time to get them all uploaded. There's some epic ones. So we're going to do, I think, a special show where we'll celebrate Tony and we'll show all of these fabulous words that some of the most incredible people in the entertainment industry and dear friends of his shared, like from Lionel Richie and Marie Osmond and on and on and on. It was epic. And it was all at that evening at Mohegan Sun, which was the big epic. Not necessarily, I know we've been using, everybody says tour. It was really Las Vegas, Atlantic City, and then Mohegan Sun, and it was special. If you were there, and I know many of you were there, whether you were at the one at Mohegan Sun or Atlantic City or Vegas or any of his shows ever, you know what I'm talking about. He put on an unbelievable performance every single time. Thanks so much, everybody. I've seen a lot of familiar faces joining us here on the Jim Masters Show live series. If this is your first time here, come see us again. And don't forget, you can also, if you want to see this episode again, and check out the other 2 episodes with amazing conversations where Tony Orlando was with us. Tony Orlando was with us just about a month ago. We had him as a special guest just before he started the farewell experience, and he was previewing some of the incredible things that were going to be happening. So we had him on there for an epic conversation. Then we had him on about a year ago for another incredible conversation. You can see those other episodes with Tony Orlando and all of our guests, hundreds and hundreds of incredible guests from television and film and Broadway and all the different stages, music, culinary arts, sports, comedy, inspiration, science, health, wellness. We've had it all because this is an entertainment lifestyle celebrity talk show series where we're celebrating everything, life, with all of these celebrity friends and guests, special guests who stop by JMS to visit with all of us together. And what an epic story about Hank Aaron too. And I was so excited to show him the bat. There it is there. This was the commemorative bat, Louisville Slugger, that I got. And this is the Hank Aaron bat. Better it's that way. There, it was upside down. Hey, we're live. See where it says Hank Aaron there? And it's got a serial number and everything else. This was really great. And I saw that our friend Tony was paying homage to Hank Aaron, and they had him as a guest on Tony Orlando and Dawn on CBS. How many of you watched that show? And Sonny and Cher and Captain and Tennille and Donnie and Marie and all the shows. They were epic and good stuff. And again, I got a chance to see Tony backstage on the final night of his big finale. And it was really special. And it really was something terrific. And again, there were so many people that had such a great time. Many of you, again, I got a chance to actually say hi to a lot of you who were there. And you came up to me, and there were some people who recognized me from television or heard my voice on the radio, and they came up and they asked me, "Who are you, Jim Masters?" And I'm like, yeah. And it was so nice to meet many of you. And then some of you recognized me from this series that we do, the Jim Masters Show, and you came up to say hi. And I think that was a beautiful thing as well. Not only did we have an opportunity to talk about current things he's working on, and again, let us make sure we show you this, because this is something very important and very special. It's coming up quickly. Now, if you watch this episode, when this event has already passed, then it's already passed. But if you are in that area of beautiful Branson, where he makes his home, he has been giving back to the armed forces and veterans for decades, as he shared with us, and he's doing it again, and he's launching this for the first time, and this is a free concert. Yeah, he's doing it again. He's touching our lives and giving back in such a phenomenal way. So make sure you check that out. And also don't forget to check him out on 77 WABC New York. Saturday nights. Does an epic show. I'm a big fan of it. And loved it when he had Robbie Robinson, who was a guest of ours, as they were celebrating Frankie Valli. And again, he's known Frankie Valli, Tony, for a very long time. And there he is with the one and only Frankie Valli. And again, wow, wasn't that video cool from Adam Sandler? That was just one of the many videos that were shown during the course of Tony's farewell. And it was special. So we have those, and he's going to send us the Paul Anka one, which is going to be beautiful. And we're going to do a special, like abbreviated show celebrating Tony. And then we'll have him watch that show. Tomorrow, for those of you watching live, Joey D of Joey D and the Starlighters, who created the twist dance, do the twist. They created that craze. He is an epic legend, Joey D, and he's here tomorrow, 5 p.m. Eastern, a little bit earlier, 5 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Central, and 2 p.m. Pacific. That's for those watching tomorrow. And then on Wednesday, we have Grammy-winning extraordinaire Brenda Russell. You know the song Get Here and so much more. She's with us on Wednesday. And that's just the short list of so many guests and so many good times. Let's take a quick look at some of our, oh, thank you very much. You know, we have something called Super Chat, Super Emoji, Super Stickers when the show is on live or anytime, even if you watch our shows as re-airs archived, you can do what's called Super Thanks. There's a heart icon on all the episodes on our YouTube channel called Super Thanks. And that lets us know that you enjoy what we're doing here. But wow, thank you very much, Linda Johnson. She did a super sticker. And you're a super person, and you're a JMS Lovity, and we love you for sharing your support of what we're doing here at the Jim Masters Show live series. Thank you. And we like to always personally acknowledge the viewers that go the extra mile and do that in support of our show. And we'll take that, and we will, when that light bulb burns out, that LED light bulb burns out, or this one burns out, or this one burns out, we'll use it, put it right back into our show. Or if the big one on me burns out, we'll put it right for the show. Thank you so much, Linda. She is grateful for your shows. We're grateful for you knowing that you're out there. You know, those of you who are vocal and you comment on our channel, in addition to commenting in the Lovity Hole chat room while the show is live, we thank you so much for that. Be sure, everybody, to leave a comment on the actual channel under the episode. That helps us as well. Give this episode a like. Thank you, Jim. This was great. Thank you, Cheryl. I think Tony was very moved when I read your comment as well. And thank you, Jim. You do a great job. Thank you very much. And yeah, I've been doing this work for a long time on TV and radio, and I love it. And to have created this show 4 years ago, we are celebrating our 4-year anniversary, this series, and almost 1,200 episodes with extraordinary guests and all of you. 4 years solid, and not 4 years of just 400 episodes, almost 1,200 shows we have done of the Jim Masters Show live, which is amazing. We thank the iconic, the one and only, dear friend, Tony Orlando, for stopping by. Again, he's been entertaining us for decades, and he's one of the best in the industry. And as I said when I started this show, if you ever wonder, is Tony like what you would hope? Is he as nice? Is he as funny? Is he as genuine? Is he as sweet? Is he as kind-hearted and empathetic? Yes, yes, and yes. I and many others, you know, who know him can tell you the answer is yes. And he loves his audience, he loves his fans, and he appreciates them. And what we've created here with the times he's been on our show has been nothing short of glorious. These conversations, I absolutely love when Tony stops by our show. And this won't be the last time. You know, he's working on things. The door series. So that was something really special having Tony here, right? And for the trifecta, the third time, really, really special. So we thank Tony for joining us. And we thank you for joining us as well. And before you go, parting is such sweet sorrow. You know, it really is. We hate that. But do us a favor. Give us a like. There's a thumbs up button on the YouTube channel. If you love this, give us a like. I wish they had a love button. They should have a love button, but they've got a like button. Click the thumbs up like button. Share this episode on your social media. And also subscribe and leave a comment for us as well on the YouTube channel. We would love that. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, which is Jim Masters TV. That's where all these episodes are. We'll take a look at a few more comments. And of course, we thank you very much for watching and for liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. That helps us grow. If you enjoy everything we're doing here at the Jim Masters Show Live series, tell a friend. We really, really appreciate that. Let's take a look at a couple more comments here before we get ready to wrap up the episode. And Maureen in Arizona says, I knew this would be an amazing episode, but it truly was beyond my expectations. I loved every single minute, Jim. Thank you very much for having Tony back. It just keeps getting better with him. Oh, yeah. Doesn't it? Like fine wine. Like fine wine. And Merlin in Canada says, thanks, Jim. Keep that porch light on for him anytime. Yeah, the porch light on for Tony all the time. And for all of you. Mona watching. Mona, good to see you as well. Long-time lovely on the Jim Masters Show. She's watching in Louisiana, New Orleans. Thanks again, Jim. Great job. Thank you very much, Mona. You know, Mona, we're still using those spices you sent me. I want you to know that. She was kind enough to send me this gift package, and it has all these Louisiana spices, and there's a few flakes left in one of the cans that you sent, and I sprinkle it. Matter of fact, we have a salmon. It's almost 10 o'clock at night here. We cooked up a salmon with capellini noodles, and the salmon is waiting for us. And we're going to sprinkle a little bit of one of those spices you sent from Louisiana. We're going to sprinkle some of those on the salmon as we get ready to have a pretty late dinner here. Oh, the porch light is on for you, Mona, always, and it always has been. We love you, Mona. Yeah, those I've never tasted any, and I like different spices on things. I've never tasted anything like what you've sent from beautiful Louisiana, my friend. So kind of you to do that, really. Thanks for all these great comments and just beautiful words. You'll be right here. You got to come to the East Coast. Hop on a plane from Phoenix and come east to get some salmon with the capellini noodles and the Louisiana spices on it. I'll be right there. Dinner sounds amazing. We'll look at a couple more comments here. We thank you for all of the live comments. But again, we would love it if you do leave a comment on the actual YouTube channel as well. That would be really, really great. Roy Hamilton Jr., son of the legendary Roy Hamilton, was a guest on our show. If you didn't see that episode, go back and binge watch it. Same thing with Benedito King, son of Ben E. King, who sang Stand By Me and so much more. He was a guest on our show. Bobby Wilson, Jackie Wilson's son, was a guest on our show. And all of these incredible folks and many, many more have become friends, fans of our show, supporters of our show, and friends of mine and my of theirs. And I really am honored by that. Roy says, thank you so much for coming on today, Tony, and sharing with us. We look forward to meeting you someday. God bless. Thank you, Jim. Thank you to you and your lovely Maria. for commenting how beautiful it was. The stories that Tony shared about your iconic father, Roy, huh? Was that not something unbelievable? He shared some wonderful stories with us, some stories he's never shared anywhere else before, because it's a home here. This is a home, for all of us, and it's beautiful. And Renee, thank you very much. Thank you, Jim. Wonderful show. You're going to be here for Joey D. I know you're all excited about that. Maybe Tony will be sneaking in to surprise Tony. We'll see. I'll try to set it up for Tony. It's a great idea, and it's a beautiful thing for him to do that. Joey D, legendary Joey D of the Starlighters, would be very, very surprised. When you see me looking over here, I'm looking at all these different comments coming in. Joey D would be really, really, really surprised by all of that. Boy, so many people. Neil Rosengarten here watching as well, and Sherry Larson here watching, and so many of our faithful who've been with our show since the beginning, and a lot of new fans of the Jim Masters Show series. Thank you so very, very much, gang. We love all these comments here. You guys are really, really fantastic. And Kurt Stacy here. Thank you, Kurt. Thank you, Jim and Tony. Sounds so cool that you could corroborate with Roy and how these things just happen live. Absolutely, Kurt. Spot on. And Pam Stubbs here from Maryland. Thank you, Jim and Tony. And yeah, the whole thing was really full circle. Absolutely full circle. And just thank you, everybody, for all these wonderful comments. And there's so many. Wish we can get to them all. But and again, thank you to Linda Johnson for her kindness. And she did a super sticker in the JMS chat room, and that means a great deal. And we really appreciate that. And we thank you and all watching from around the world. We love you all. We say it often. It's so true. And what a great conversation with Tony Orlando. So thanks for stopping by. I'm going to have that salmon and the rice, not the rice, the salmon and the capellini noodles. Sometimes we have it with rice. It's calling my name. I hear it. Jim, swim on over and have me some salmon. And we'll put some spices, the Louisiana spices from lovely Mona in Louisiana. If this is your first time here, thanks for stopping by. And if you've been with us since the beginning, thank you for your loyalty. I'm your host, Jim Masters, thanking you for your time. This time, till next time, we'll be back with Joey D tomorrow. It's going to be great. And for all the times you've been with us, I know life is busy and you have a lot of choices and a lot of things you could be doing. But the fact that whether you join us live or you join us Memorex, you join us archived. Again, quickly, if you ever join us late or you miss an episode, don't worry. They're all archived on our YouTube channel for you to be able to watch and enjoy and share 24/7. So you can, there might be shows you love so much, like our viewers and I do. You want to see it again. You can. It's all saved there for you. Roy Hamilton Jr. adds, yes, Jim, it was amazing. It made our day. Maria and I truly appreciate your continued support. Love you, and Tony, God bless. We love you back. And yes, Mona, we kept the porch light on for you. And you guys are looking out for me. Enjoy your meal. Thank you, Renee. I will. And Linda says, eat your dinner, Jim. Your wish is my command. My stomach is rumbling. We shall. We'll see you on the next one. Thanks for stopping by the Jim Masters Show Live series. And we thank once again our fabulous guest on this episode, the one and only Tony Orlando. Cool stuff. Gang, you be well. We love you all. Take care. Love one another. Take care of one another. Love yourself. And come see us again. All right? Can't wait to have the salmon. I am hungry. We'll see you on the next episode. Jim Masters, we love you all. And cheers.